This week on the Full-Time Flippers Reselling Podcast.
Now, I think it's just somewhere in your seller settings, you can say, don't sell to anyone who has 2 unpaid items in the last 6 months.
Wow.
And I thought, well, that sounds kind of, that might help me, but apparently it's hurting me. It's costing me at least $60 at this point.
Hi, I'm Chad the Quirky Picker. I'm a full-time reseller from Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
Hi everyone, I'm Denis the Free King Flipper. I'm a full-time reseller from Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
I'm an everything seller, but I love to sell all kinds of electronics and anything unique and vintage.
I'm an everything seller as well, but I really enjoy finding and flipping our vintage toys, Sony Walkmans, vintage electronics.
Join us each week as we discuss life as a full-time reseller. We will share our experiences, both the good and the not so good.
Learn from our expertise and our mistakes.
From sourcing to listing to shipping,
Customer interactions, we will cover it all.
this is the Full-Time Flippers.
Reselling Podcast.
Welcome to the Full-Time Flippers Reselling Podcast, episode 3. I'm Chad the Quirky Picker, and I'm joined here with my co-host.
Denis the Free King Flipper. What's up, everybody?
We start off each show with, how was your week?
My week flew by. We were just saying that I can't believe it's Friday already and we're already recording again. It was fast. It was another solid week. And I think it's going to have something to do with me changing my return policy from no returns accepted to accepted returns, buyer pays return shipping. It has been steady since I did that. So other than that, great sales. Nothing crazy, but just a bunch of solid days in a row.
Like, how much of your sales went up, do you think? Like, you keep track on a daily basis, how many you sell, or you're...
Yeah, like today, shipping out. Well, yeah, today's Friday, so I'm shipping out since Wednesday, Thursday. It was like 43 items, and it's normally not like that on Fridays. I'd say on average 10 to 12 more. So that's like 6 more a day.
Wow.
And some of the stuff that people are buying is stuff that I've had on there for quite a while. I'd say 6 plus months, and it's getting attention.
So you have a shipping policy and you just switched everything over on your shipping policies? Yeah.
I did I did a mass, edit. Edit all of them. I think there's like 1,100 listings, and just put on all of them, yes, I accept returns and you pay the return shipping. That's it.
Yeah. I was going to ask you how big your store is. 1,100 items on eBay? Yeah.
It's like 1,162 or whatever. Wow. I can never hit that 1,200.
I can't hit 13.
It just, but I guess that's a good thing. You're selling stuff.
Yeah. Or I'm not listing enough, one or the other.
Right.
I was listing lots of electronics today.
Good.
I set up my stereo and a TV, and I'm like, everything I have that can hook up to a stereo or a TV, I want to test today. And I threw away 3 VCRs in the trash. Yeah. I mean, they've been sitting around for like a half year in my warehouse. So I figured it's time to get that stuff out. I got to get some big stuff listed.
How's your week?
On Monday, I screwed up all my shipping. On my scale, it has different settings, and it's almost always in pounds and ounces. And somehow I must have hit the button that changed it to pounds and like 5.25 pounds, or 5.2 pounds. And I thought it was 5.2 ounces.
Oh no.
So the whole day, everything that I weighed, anything that was like 0.7 pounds, I put it down as like 7 ounces. But a lot of it was like over 8 ounces. And it was only affected things that were under a pound, because like, over a pound, it's just basically by the pound. So I went at the very end of the day, I finally caught it, and I'm like, well, how many did I mess up? So I'm like, I don't have time to look at all these. So I just took them all to the post office, and I had them scan them one by one. And so 10 of the packages were off, enough that I just took them home. And then the next morning I canceled all those shipping labels and had to reprint new labels. My sales have been lower this week and slow. I guess I should say. I haven't sold a single item over $90 in over a week, and that's not normal for me. I usually sell 3-4 items at over $100 and maybe one that's $200. So I'm just selling lots of small things,
Yeah.
like $10. Some of this stuff's been in my store a long time, and it's not good sell-through rates, but I end and sell similar. Something I shared on Instagram is at the end of the month, if you have listings left over, you should always go in your store. Let's say you have 200 listings left at the end of the month, if you have a store, and just end and sell similar 200 items. Just keep using them all up, because at the end of the month, or at the start of each month, you get 1,000. Or I have a basic store, I think, with 1,000 listings.
Same.
So you just waste them. Otherwise,
Yep.
I mean, I got an email this week from UPS saying that one of my dimensions was off on my package. Does this happen to you much?
Not really.
Not
I
really.
always go over, and I ship out large items.
Yeah.
Well, what happened?
Well, it was just, I have a 15 by 15 by 15 box, and the outside dimensions are 15 by 15. I use this box a lot. So, and I put 3 of them together when I shipped that vacuum cleaner I was talking about last week.
Oh yeah.
So I kind of stacked them on top of each other and made a 15 by 15 by 40 something box.
Yeah.
And they said it was 15 by 16. So they must have a different tape measure than I do. So it was like a $2 charge. But that is the second time this has happened to me. And the last time it was huge. Like,
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, I was going to share about that story later on. So coming up later is how they said my dimensions were off, and it was an extra $200 charge. Yeah, so that's coming up later in the podcast. I mean, I always round up to the nearest inch, unless it's like 14 and 1/8, 14 and 1/4. But if it's at half, then I always round up just to be safe. I like to type in the 2 dimensions on my shipping just to see what the price difference would be, because sometimes if there's no price difference, I'm like, yeah, that's an easy one. But if it's like $2 or $3 more, sometimes I'm like, man, maybe if it's 14 and 1/4, I'm just gonna put 14 and maybe it'll fly.
Normally it does.
Yeah. Share something about yourself. I thought we'd do a little more of that today, and we're going to talk about the different jobs we've had in our life growing up. Dennis, how many jobs have you had in your life?
Oh, wow. I mean, it's probably easier to go backwards than forward.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you don't want to hear about me working at a gas station when I was 15, 16 years old. But other than reselling full time, like I said, 3 years on, I think it was Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Tuesday. I just made the 3-year anniversary. So before the full-time reselling, I was a sales manager for a small beer company, craft beer company, up in the North Shore, northeast part of the state. And my job was to literally go around and go to bars and restaurants and package stores, liquor stores, and try to sell the beer from this brewery. And I lasted about a year. COVID really messed it up because I was having a good time and I was having fun. But COVID out this way, they just stopped having bars open. They stopped having, full packed restaurants. So I was making maybe $200, $300 a week. That's about it.
Yeah. Wow.
So it forced me into doing other things, reselling one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then before that, since I got out of college, I was a police officer, and I kind of roamed around. I've been a city cop down in Virginia. I was a sergeant at a local university for the university police department.
Okay.
And I did almost 12 years there, and then got out, sold the beer, and now here we are selling used items. So if you're asking, I don't miss it. I really don't. I miss the guys a lot and the people I worked with. I don't miss the job and the strain on the family and just the strain on your body, working overnights and forces and nights, holidays, weekends, missing all your kids, activities and all that. I don't miss any of it.
Yeah. Right. A lot of second shift or third shift.
I was the sergeant for 3 to 11.
you have any good police stories to tell us?
Oh,
Putting you on the spot. But
yeah. I mean, there's times when we, went to a house and we had guns drawn. There's times where I'm sitting there playing solitaire in the cruiser. I mean, I liked pulling over cars, and my favorite spot was this little 25-mile-per-hour zone, and it's kind of bad because who does 25 and a 25?
Right.
But it was, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm pulled up with my buddy, and we're, car to car like that, just talking, trying to stay awake. And all of a sudden the radar lights up at 65. Threw the lights on, whipped around, thinking this guy's never going to stop. And he did. He stopped. I couldn't believe it. And we pull him over, and the guy I was with, he comes to the passenger side, and I'm at the driver's side, and we look in, and we each see a handgun, not the same handgun. I see one that's on the passenger seat. He sees one that's on the back seat. And in Virginia, if you have a gun, you just can't conceal it. You can literally put it up on the dashboard, and it's not concealed, and it's okay.
Yeah.
Me being from Massachusetts, that is absolutely crazy. But in any case, we see the butt of a gun. I see the butt of a gun. He sees a gun in the back. We bring him out of the car, and then we got the guns out. He was legally in possession of guns, but not the 6-8 balls of methamphetamines that we found.
That wasn't legal?
No.
In Virginia?
And he was trying to tell us it was personal use and all this other stuff. But the drug dog came, hit on the car right away. And then I remember the drug guy saying, I never find stuff like this. So I'm like, just right place at the right time. Yeah. Just running radar in a little neighborhood. And
all he had to do was drive a speed limit, and he wouldn't have been caught.
That's it.
Let that be a lesson, kids. So some of the jobs that I've worked in my life, I worked for a company called Souder Woodworking for 17 years in Ohio. They make ready-to-assemble furniture, buy it in a box, bring it home, set it up. Most people in the United States probably have one Souder item in their house. So I worked on an assembly line. Then I drove fork truck for 7 years. Then I was a computer programmer. So I did that for 7 years and sat at a desk in an office. Every hour I'd walk over to the window and just look outside. I hated it, being trapped in a cage. Definitely not trapped in a cage now. And then after I was a computer programmer for 7 years, I became a videographer. So I have a video and camera background. I did that for 7 years full time, sporting events and weddings and stuff. So that's why I thought I was never going to do YouTube, just because I knew how much time it would take to edit a video. I'll do these podcasts, but I don't really have a desire to edit content on a weekly basis of what I'm selling, or do those kind of videos, or go out to yard sales. I don't even like watching those too much. I don't have time to watch the screen. It has to be something I can listen to.
I agree. I mean, I have a YouTube channel. I just don't have the time in my day and my week to go around editing. I can record. In fact, I got hours and hours of footage. I guess I'm the reverse. I'm a reseller pretending to be a YouTuber.
What are you recording?
The
Just
same
thoughts?
stuff just wandering around, finding items, going to yard sales.
Okay. You record all that, or just occasionally?
I have a GoPro with the chest mount, and I walk around and I don't do it every week. Some of it's really funny. The characters I meet on a sourcing trip, but the editing and the putting up, the little pop-ups. Hey, I bought this, and then all of a sudden the thing comes up with a comp on it. It doesn't interest me at all.
Yeah.
And if it's not going to interest me, I'm probably not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But
I love editing. That was my favorite thing, but I just don't. The time that it would take away from me from reselling would cost me too much.
That's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. If I'm going to take 2 hours, 3 hours a week editing a video to put it on there so 30 people can watch it, where those 3 hours I could have been sourcing or taking pictures, and it just doesn't make sense for me right now.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it will grow over time, but
Right.
It takes
I
a
think I
while
have
to get there.
200 followers, which is small, but I'll throw a video out there every so often, and you can tell I did not do my due diligence in editing. I just wanted the thing put on there and like, let's go.
Yeah, that's all I'm doing is like on Instagram, little 1-minute videos that with no editing, just sharing the thought as it comes to my head sometimes. All right, let's move on to the next portion of our podcast, home runs and strikeouts, best and worst sales of the week. Do you have any home runs?
Knowing what you heard me say about my former jobs and what I'm going to tell you that I was actually selling this week, if you would have told me that, I would not have believed you. Adult diapers. All right, that's my home run. Okay.
Yeah.
I came across a whole bunch of cases. There's 4 packages of them in a case.
Mhm.
I think I got like 8 cases of these.
Okay.
They're just giving them away. Just
Yeah.
And I said, sure, I'll grab them. And I looked them up, and they're selling between $20 and $25 a package.
Plus shipping?
So, yeah.
25
So,
plus shipping. Okay.
and then I was doing,
And you have 32.
and then I took best offer on them. So some guy bought a case of them, and I didn't even have to open it up. It's already in the box, just boom, gone. So what do I have? I think I've sold half. I've got the other half left.
So 18 at $20 each, or a little more than that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Which, okay.
Yeah.
But am I going to run out and look for adult diapers? I guess I will now.
Yeah.
But before I'd see them occasionally at a thrift store and whatever. But and then it was a repeat seller that I think he bought 2, and then a week later they bought a whole thing of 4.
Yeah.
So I'll give you a deal.
He'll probably buy again.
Yeah.
I don't know how quickly you go through those things, but
adult diaper home run. I'm wearing some right now. It's, we can go through the whole recording. I don't have to interrupt.
Yeah. We'll never know.
My strikeout was a Yamaha receiver that I actually paid for, believe it or not. And I sold it locally online. And the guy brought it home, said it didn't work. I'm like, just bring it back. I have another one. I tested all of them, but I'm like, it was $30. I'm like, I'm not going to screw somebody for $30. And he brought it back, and I gave him another one. I think the model numbers were almost identical. I think the other one was slightly newer, and he was happy. He gave me the old one, which I did test, and he was right. It did not work. I'm like, something happened between it being tested, stored, sold, and brought back. But I normally wouldn't do that on a local sale. It's, normally, hey, it's cash deal, shake hands, and it's gone. But I just didn't feel right about that.
Yeah, I do the same thing.
The strikeout was it didn't work, but the good part was he got another one, and he was psyched. So
were they worth the same amount of money?
Yeah.
Okay.
This was a bulk deal where I bought, I think, like eight units. I think like 5 receivers, a couple of VCRs, and a tape deck. And I was just trying to get rid of it because I was not going to put it online, on eBay to sell for maybe $50. I just didn't want the shipping and all that.
Yeah.
I'd rather take a little bit less, but cash, and then have it, no shipping and just let it go.
Right.
So.
Yep. My home run, like I said, in the last week, I haven't sold anything over $90. The one thing I sold was $90. It's called a Variac. It's like an electronics device. I think you can control the amount of voltage that something puts out for testing different equipment. I didn't test it at all. It didn't even have a power cord, and I sold it for $90. So those old vintage electronics that I like to buy, I have no idea. I think I paid less than $5 for it, and no idea what it was when I bought it. But
does it produce voltage or just test for voltage?
No, I think you plug it into the wall, which is like 120 volts, and then you can control how much voltage it puts out. I don't know if you can test different equipment to see how low the voltage will go before it shuts off or something like that. I don't know. Somebody in the comments maybe knows what a Variac is.
Very cool.
VARIAC. That's like maybe the third or fourth one I've ever sold, but still not clear to me how you would use them, I guess, for testing electronics and stuff. And I sold a $54 computer monitor. It was a flat screen and it was a square one, like a 4:3 ratio. $54 for something that was free. Yeah. Those old monitors are coming back, I guess. I don't know why. They're VGA.
It's vintage gaming and vintage like PC games. Yeah. It just, when you're trying to play one of those games on these widescreens,
yeah,
some of them don't work and others you have to manipulate the size. So yeah, the old VGA stuff.
It was a flat panel, so I mean, it wasn't one of the
that
big
old, the CRT
50 pounders. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my two home runs, and they were like singles, really.
Yeah.
And then my strikeout was I sold a 16-inch Squishmallow. Is that how you pronounce them? Squishmallows?
Squishmallow.
Squishmallows. They're with an A though. Mallow. Squishmallow.
Yeah.
For $5 plus shipping. I was so tired of that thing being in my store. Took up too much space.
Yeah.
Have you ever sold a Squishmallow?
Nope. I went in, I scanned a whole bunch of them and realized those fad type items I try to stay away from.
Like a Funko Pop or something.
Funkos. I don't do Funkos.
Yeah, me neither. Well, I looked it up on eBay just to see what the sales ratings were, and there's 11,000 16-inch Squishmallows currently on eBay, and 38,000 have sold in the last 90 days. So it's an amazing sell-through rate. Why did mine take 6 months? I don't know, or longer. Actually, I probably bought it last spring, so almost a year. But the average list price for these are $41, and the average sale price is $19. So everybody's listing them high and selling them low.
I think it's the actual animal and color that has everything to do with it. They're rare, or I don't know. If a YouTuber has one on their show, that one's going to be the one that sells first. You know, if Walmart is having a clearance sale on them, it's probably best to just leave it there.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was a good, I don't know. I didn't even look it up what it was worth, but I think I just started off like a 20 and just slowly lowered the price over time.
$5.
$5. So long.
Let it go. Yep. Let it go.
All right, let's move on to BOLOs and NOLOs. BOLO, one thing to be on the lookout for, and a NOLO, one thing you would never, or not never, but you don't want to buy again.
I have props this week.
All right.
This thing right here.
Is that a DVD? Okay.
It's a 30th anniversary Def Leppard box set.
Okay.
This was at a thrift. It's CDs. It's the music and DVDs.
Okay.
And this was at a thrift store. I think I paid $4.99 for it. It has like booklets in it. It has a poster in it. It's got some weird other. I mean, it's loaded with stuff. If you're a huge Def Leppard fan, it's got some type of tour book. Here's the poster. Any case, these used are selling regularly for $150 to $175.
Wow. Yeah.
Is
it listed yet?
I just took pictures of it today, so this will be listed later today.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll sell over the weekend.
Right. Maybe to one of our viewers.
Yeah. So if you see this thing, I mean, definitely pick it up. It's worth it. It's you would probably walk right by it, which I did, but it has a barcode. So I'm just like, whatever. I'll scan it. And I was shocked. I'm like, $170? Why?
What's the sell-through rate? Sorry.
I didn't even check. I only saw that like 2 of them sold this week. So I'm like, for $5, I'm buying it.
All right. You have a NOLO, something.
Yeah, this is something that I'll probably get some flack for it. But I brought some more props. McDonald's toys. I just stopped picking these things up. there's just way too many of them. And this one is a Micro Machines one that I've had listed for over a year. I guess if you had the whole set, this is number 7, you might have something. This is a Hot Wheels. Number 13.
Are they plastic cars? Hot Wheel plastic cars?
This one's actually metal.
Okay.
1999 on this. I can't even get like $4 for this thing. Opened at McDonald's, or what is these, Burger King maybe? No, these are McDonald's. If they're already open, I don't even know why I have these.
Right.
It's because I listed them probably 2 years ago and they're still sitting here. So don't be jumping in on a whole bunch of these things. They're everywhere. Unless you get that one, there's an exception to all of these, that one rare one that everybody wants, that's fine. But the majority of the stuff is everywhere. And if you want to, sell $5 items, that's fine. But these are just sitting, and it's, give them to your kids or donate them or something. So that's my NOLO.
You know what I sold today?
McDonald's toys?
McDonald's toys.
You're kidding me.
I am not kidding you. They have not paid yet.
They're going to watch this and then they're going to not pay.
They're not going to pay. Yeah. They were a lot of 1993 McDonald's Beanie Babies sealed.
You're kidding me.
So it wasn't a complete set. I was missing one, I guess. And I had a duplicate of one. So it was still 12, but they only sold for $9. $9.
Okay.
But they've been in my store for probably over a year.
Yep.
And that was another thing I'm ready to take to Goodwill. I've been filling up boxes for Goodwill lately. I'm clearing space out, getting ready for yard sale season. Well, my bolo is, I went to a private pick a few weeks ago and they had a bunch of Fujifilm Instax. Do you know what Instax are? They're like little Instamatic, remember the old Kodak Instamatic cameras that would shoot the photos out of the bottom? Fujifilm it makes a camera that you load up like 10 little small photographs in, and then it just spits them out like an Instamatic camera. And my son has one, and I guess they were real popular with the kids. They're kind of like going to one of those photo booths and getting your photo.
Oh, they're like this big, like
they're real small.
Square.
Well, they're a little bit bigger than that, but
I know what you're talking about.
I think I had 20 packs of those that I received at that private pick. I just threw them in a box with a bunch of other stuff, and they're selling for like $5 each. And I had a printer that sold for $60. So good sell-through rate on eBay. So be on the lookout for those little packs of film and the cameras. Well, probably won't find the cameras, but the film you might find. I did have one other bolo. There's Hot Wheel cars and there's Matchbox cars, and most of the 60s and 70s, they're not worth a whole lot unless they're red line, and it depends how rare it is and the condition and stuff. But have you heard of Johnny Lightning cars? I was at a yard sale and there was a box of Hot Wheels for 25 cents each. And I was digging through them, and I always buy a couple for my kids. And one had doors that opened, and it was a Johnny Lightning car, and I paid $0.25 for it. And I saw some that had sold for over $100, but mine wasn't in that great a condition. Still sold for $40.
Nice.
I just sold that this week. So be on the lookout for Johnny Lightning. At least look them up. The name of the car is usually on the bottom, so it makes it easy to search. My NOLO is cheap sneakers. I don't know if you come across even Nike shoe or whatever, and they're like $1 at a yard sale, and they're a little bit worn, and they're just the common everyday like walking shoe, running shoe. Yeah. I've had some of these in my store for a long time. I've picked up some sneakers that I've sold for $100 before, $90, $75, but I have a whole bunch of pairs left, and I'll be lucky if I get 15, I'll be lucky. I'm selling some for like 12. I just sold some for $12 or $10 for the pair. And I'm like, I just want to get rid of them.
You're talking like department store types of Reeboks and Kohl's. Yeah.
So I think when I bought them, they might've said showed $25, $30. And sometimes if they're $1, I don't even look them up. I was just taking them. Right. So now I look them all up. I'm not in the shoe market much anymore. The next segment of our podcast, customer service. talk about your most interesting customer interactions from the last week. Do you have any?
I did post for people if they wanted to see that one last week. We were talking about the little mercury glass. I got a ton of comments on it. People love seeing the pictures of the little birds and the guy had the decorated Christmas tree and all that. It was really cool. This week, I don't think I have anything particular, or it's just been like a trend on asking obvious questions when the answer is either in the title or in the description. I think I've gotten 3 instances where they're asking the measurements of an item, and there's literally a picture of the item with the measuring tape right next to it.
Yeah.
So
do you say see photo number 5?
no, I just answer them, and I'll just say approximately blank and just send it. And then normally they don't even buy it. I don't know. Yeah. That happened like 3 times. And then this other guy is trying to barter with me on a iPod. It's over there, an iPod Nano, the little square one.
I have a couple.
And I have it listed as it powers on. It has a bad battery, so it will not stay on. The battery will take a charge and then immediately die. So it's being sold for parts or fix. So he comes back with, does it power on? Well, yes, that's how it was described. If it does power on, I will offer you this if you can prove it. If it doesn't power on, I offer you this. Like, where are we going here? It's like, let's make a deal.
Yeah.
And I just said, it powers on, it just won't stay on. That's it. I mean, I guess you need a picture. Yeah, this is going to be, he's not going to be happy no matter what type of.
Did you take a picture of it on? Just take a picture of it.
No, and I probably should have. I just thought the description, like, it's for parts. It's,
Right. I sold a Sims PC game for $4 plus shipping. It was a 3-disc set. I don't even know which Sims version it was. Doesn't really matter. But I shipped it on February 9th, delivered on February 16th. The buyer sends me a message 2 days ago saying, is there any chance you can contact the post office and see where my item is? I have about 6 items, all games like this, and none have been delivered, despite saying they've all been delivered in the tracking. I read online they use GPS to log deliveries, and this can sometimes find missing packages. Have you ever had that happen to you? Ever heard of this?
Normally, they'll say, hey, it shows delivered, but I don't have it.
Right.
And in my experience, I'll just say, just wait 24 hours. Sometimes they'll show delivered prematurely, and then like the very next day, it's there. That's normally what happens.
Yeah. But this is 2 weeks later.
Yeah. I haven't had that. Either it just doesn't show up, and the guy's like, hey, it's like supposed to be here 2 weeks ago. I've never seen it show delivered and then 2 weeks go by.
Yeah. Well, he says 6 items. So I'm like, I ask him, does anyone have access to your mailbox? Right. Maybe or talk to your postman, see if he can remember delivering packages to your house. Because like if somebody's stealing them out of his mailbox, but I mean, they'd have to know they're in there. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Or their boxes, maybe they don't fit in his mailbox, and so the postman's sitting them
back
on the porch, and someone's,
or it's back. Well, no, it would show that it was back at the post office.
Yeah, no, it showed delivered post office.
Yeah. So you're covered, but he's out.
I'm covered. Yeah, I told him there's nothing I can do. I'm not the post office, but talk to your postmaster or your mail person. I also got a message from a buyer who wants to buy one of my items. The message says, hello, please help me. You can give me buy this capacitor. Thanks. That was his exact words. I think he's asking me, can you help me buy this capacitor? Thanks.
Okay.
And he sent me a photo of his screen, and it has a message that says, sorry, you are not allowed to purchase this item. The item is available to buyers who have not received 2 or more unpaid item strikes in the past 6 months.
Wow.
Have you turned that on? That's a feature that I turned on like 6 months ago, but this is the first time.
That exists.
Yeah, I heard about it one time, so I went in and turned it on, and this is the first time someone's contacted me, and they have like 1,600 feedback. But apparently they got into the habit of not paying for items after they bought them. Yep. And I'm like, do I try to find this setting and turn it off? because it's like a $60 item. I think he'll buy, and what do I care if he doesn't pay? I mean, I don't know why I turned it on to begin with, just to because it doesn't matter to me if they don't pay. I'll just relist it. But
Right.
returns should be what I'm most concerned about. People that complain or fish for money back. So,
Right.
have you ever heard of that setting?
No.
Yeah, I can't find it. I've been looking all over for it. I guess I can go to YouTube and type in some words.
So
maybe
is that
someone.
as you're listing the item, it's somewhere in there?
No, I think it's just somewhere in your seller settings. You can say, don't sell to anyone who has received more than or has 2 unpaid items in the last 6 months.
Wow.
And I thought, well, that sounds kind of, that might help me, but apparently it's hurting me. It's costing me at least $60 at this point.
Right.
So I need to shut that setting off. But I just wondered if that was something you had ever said or heard of.
Nope.
Apparently not. The next segment of our show is called Time Machine. We had fun with this last week. You can travel back to a specific year. What would you buy then to resell now? And this week we decided to do 1983. Dennis, what would you buy in 1983 to sell now?
I am sticking with my my youth, and I'm like 9-10 years old back then, so do the math. And again, I'm not doing Star Wars this time, but G.I. Joe instead. It just came out in, I think, 82.
Okay.
So in 83 it was everywhere. Same type of thing. And I'm going to go buy the holy grail of all G.I. Joe toys.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what
The
it is?
aircraft carrier. The aircraft
Yes.
carrier.
The USS Flag.
I was trying to buy one.
No way.
It was at an estate sale.
Yeah.
And I bid up to $400.
Okay.
And it went for over $1,000.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even complete. And it had battery corrosion.
Yeah.
But the box alone.
The box. That's what I'm saying.
For $300.
I want like 5 of them in the box,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just going to store them away. And then you just name your price. It's one of those iconic things.
What have you seen them sell for? Have you done some comps to see what?
Oh, you're over $1,000, $2,000, $2,500. It all depends on what you said. Does it even have the box? Is it complete? I mean, if you had one incomplete and just parted the thing out, you'd make hundreds of dollars. There was only one kid in our neighborhood that had one, and everyone would go over to that kid's house. The thing's 7 feet long.
Yeah. Wow.
It was in their basement. It was all set up. We'd all bring our stuff over there and have these, just fantastic battles and just great fun. I don't know where it went. I mean, like everything else, it was probably thrown away. Yeah. When the kid moved out. But that's what I'm getting in 1983. I'm getting the flag.
Wow.
What are you buying?
My youth was a lot of riding my bicycle. I'm going to go back and buy a 1983 BMX style dirt bike. When I grew up, my parents didn't have money to buy me a BMX bike. So I just used my banana seat bike. I drove it like a BMX bike. I took the fenders off, swapped out the banana seat for a regular seat. And I could ride wheelies. When I was in 2nd grade, I could ride wheelies all the way down the road on my bicycle. And I could stop and hop on my back tire or my front tire and spin my steering wheel. I was a talented 2nd grader. I talked to a guy once that bought a bike. Someone gave him a free BMX bike, and the pedals alone were worth like $400 on this particular bike. I don't know what year it was, but there's a lot of value, not only in the bike itself, but the frames and the parts. And
probably the only thing I regret getting rid of was my 1986 Mongoose BMX bike, chrome molly frame, blue tires, those pads that went around the crossbar and then the handlebar, and all the cool logos, and then we would put stickers on them, and I loved that bike. And it's now, I'd say, anywhere from $1,200 to $1,800 to get it back.
Yeah.
But,
so if you find one at a yard sale, you buy it, you're going to keep it?
For a little while,
Yeah,
but
okay.
it has to be the exact same one I had.
Yeah.
If it's
yeah,
not the same one, I'd buy it and flip it.
yeah.
But if it's that chrome ollie frame with the blue accents and everything, I'd probably keep it for a little while.
Yeah. Story time. Each week we have a chance to tell one story about an interesting story from our reselling event from past or present. Do you have a story you want to tell?
It's not necessarily a reselling adventure or, something I found, but it's pretty simple. We talked about, and it's a good segue. We talked about our former jobs. What gets me out of bed now as a full-time reseller? Most people will say it's something that they're chasing, right? The dangling carrot, get out there and I want more money. I want a new car. I want this. For me, it's kind of opposite. It's something chasing me. And what's chasing me, you can call it whatever you want, the boogeyman. And you look going over your shoulder, and that's why you get out of bed and you work and you hustle and you do it, because this back here is the job that I have a degree in, that I worked in. And if I don't do this, what I'm doing now, that is going to catch me. It's really the only thing that I'm, I guess, qualified to do. So that's what gets me up out of bed, to the thrift store, to the post office, taking pictures, sourcing, boom, 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 boom. I'm hustling, all day long, all week long, because I don't want this chasing me. I don't want this to ever catch me again. I will not go back.
Because there's a lot of times where I find myself procrastinating or not working as fast as I could, or not working as many hours as I should. And that's the one thing that keeps me going, is knowing that if I don't succeed at this, I'm going to have to go back to part-time and work a full-time job, which I have considered doing many times over the last year and a half. So sometimes it's really hard when you have a bad week, you're just like, do I go get a job next week? So
I think I've even said that out loud. I've even said I'm going to start looking for jobs. It's just out of frustration. I know I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I will do anything possible to never go back
Yeah.
to the grind, to that horrible, commute and hours, and just missing out on a lot of life.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about that more next time, is what the freedoms that this line of work, allows you. And it's, I feel grateful every day.
All right. My story this week is, I bought some Sirwin Vega speakers last November, I think. They're Sirwin Vega D9s. They're very loud speakers. They're like 36 inches tall, and they weigh about 75 to 80 pounds each. I tested them. They worked. I turned up the volume on the amplifier and no crackling or anything. So I sold them. I listed them for $1,000, and somebody offered $1,000 plus $300 shipping.
Wow.
And I sold them about a month later, half a month later, not quite a month, but to a guy for $800 plus $300 shipping. So I boxed them up and I shipped them separately. The box was 36 by like 23 by 23 or 21 by 21. It came because 23 would have cost, if it would have been 1 inch wider, it would have cost another $100 to ship each speaker. So I paid $97 per speaker to ship, plus insurance. And when I shipped one day, because it took me like an hour and a half to package it up, I just wrapped it with cardboard and 1 inch thick styrofoam, like you showed me last week that you used.
Yeah.
And I shipped that to Illinois. And then the next day I boxed the other one up, and it maybe took me 45 minutes to box the second one up, because I kind of learned what I was doing after the first one. And then I sent it on the way. Well, Monday morning, I think it was like 3 days later, the first speaker shows up. He opens up the speaker and the surround had disintegrated, and he was upset. He wanted he's like, I want to return them both. And I'm like, the second one hasn't even arrived yet, and I paid $97. He's going to say item not as described, make me pay return shipping. I said, I will buy you some new surrounds. They cost $36 for a set.
Yep.
And they're orange, because they have an orange cone. I had $200 in them when I bought them. So he said he called a place in Chicago and they said they would charge him $500 to go through the speakers and fix them. So unless I gave him $500 back, he was going to ship them back. And I said, I'll give you $200 and I will send you the parts to fix them because it's an easy fix. There's lots of videos on YouTube on how to fix it. And he said, no. I said, I'll give you $400. And the reason I was going to give him $400 is because that's what I would have in shipping. $97
Sure.
per speaker there, $97 back. And he said, you know what? I'm going to return them. He was just so disappointed those speakers were disintegrated. And I'm like, it's a $36 fix.
Right.
So he ships them back to me. I get them back. And I took one out of the box just to inspect it and it disintegrated and I bought the parts and I haven't fixed it yet, but I need to pretty soon. It's just money sitting there. But the other one was still in the box. 3 weeks later, UPS sends me an email saying that we had to do a price adjustment on your package. Your dimensions were off by 4 inches. And so we are billing you an extra $100 each extra on these packages, on these 2 speakers. So I instantly replied. It was on Pirate Ship. I told Pirate Ship, I replied because I like shipping UPS through Pirate Ship because they kind of take care of you.
Yes.
I said, this is not true. I have the speaker still in the box. I can prove to you without a doubt that my dimensions were correct. I shipped them that way and it went through and nobody questioned the dimensions on the shipping and they were boxed identical. The one wasn't even open.
And the return shipping.
On the return shipping. Yeah. He never even opened the second speaker.
Right. So you shipped it out. It was fine. You shipped it back. It was fine.
And whoever measured it along the way said that the dimensions were wrong. And so it was an extra $200. So I would have $600 in shipping.
Oh.
And this point I was ticked. So I told Pirate Ship, I said, my dimensions were correct. These are wrong. And they took the money. They gave me the money back, the $100 each. So I got the $200 back. And at that point, I'm like, I'm almost ticked off enough that I might open up a item damaged in shipping because when I shipped them, the cone wasn't destroyed.
Right.
But I don't know. It was an old cone. The speakers were like 30 or 40 years old. So it was going to happen regardless. I guess I should have talked to the guy more and said, hey, this is what you can expect from these speakers is these cones won't last forever. I think they're original. You know, had I done my extra diligence in communicating, normally if somebody asks me too many questions, it's red flags, but I like to over communicate personally when I'm selling stuff. So, I need to get those speakers fixed. And now my goal is just not to lose money on them because maybe I can still get $800, but I don't want to ship them again. I'm only going to sell them locally just because UPS made me upset. All right. That concludes episode 3 of the Full-Time Flippers podcast. We're recording on Friday. This should come out Monday morning. Any final words of wisdom for us?
I love the comments. We're getting some great comments. We're getting some good feedback. If you guys have any questions or topics that you'd like us to talk about or our experiences, just let us know down in the comments or shoot us Instagram messages. If you like the way we're doing it with little segments, let us know. If you have an idea for a segment, shoot us a message. We're just enjoying talking to each other about stuff, and when you guys shoot us a comment or a thumbs up, it really helps us out, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, I've uploaded the 4th revision of episode 1 now. I made a mistake on the first one, then I made a mistake when I redid it. And I did a 3rd time and found another mistake. And so I'm like this. So I have all these views from the ones I just I took them. I didn't delete them. I took them down so I could keep track of the total views from episode 1. I think we're at 140.
Yeah.
And there's been a few reselling podcasts out there that have mentioned our podcast now. The 2 old guys reselling podcasts have mentioned us, and the Reseller Clickbait podcast, Ken and Corey have talked about us. So yeah, we're waiting. you know you've made it when Trash to Cash talks about you. So I think we're a long ways from that yet. But and then there's another new podcast that came out last week that's trying to compete with us. And J-Ride Picks. He and Sunny Las Vegas have come out with a podcast. I think it's called the Reseller Island podcast. And their episode 1 has been out a week and they have like 700 views already. But it helps when you have a huge following before you even start your podcast.
Yep.
We're not YouTubers, so this will be kind of a slow, hopefully a steady incline. But so if you're looking for a new reselling podcast, you can check theirs out.
I mean, watch ours first. Obviously.
Yeah, watch ours. Yes. And then if you have time, check out some others.
Yeah. And then don't forget I know someone's going to find this.
Yeah.
I know someone is. Let me know if you do. So, all right, guys, we'll see you next week.
All right. Yep.